This video was produced by FDA's Center for Veterinary Medicine. If your company is a commercial feed manufacturer, a company that produces medicated feed, compound feed, pre-mixes, or feed ingredients, you should report problems with unsafe feed to the Food and Drug Administration. In fact, in certain cases, you're required to report problems. Those cases when the problem fits FDA's definition of a reportable food. In this video, we'll describe what a reportable food for animals is and explain how you can report a problem. What is a reportable food? Here's FDA's definition. A reportable food is a food, including food for animals, that poses a reasonable probability that the use of or exposure to such article of food will cause serious adverse health consequences or death to humans or animals. In other words, it's a food that poses a serious threat to human or animal health. Some examples of animal foods that would be reportable foods are horse feed contaminated with monensin, sheep feed containing elevated levels of copper, swine feed containing elevated levels of selenium, and cat food severely deficient in the B vitamin thiamine. Of course, there are many other possible examples, but the important thing to remember is FDA's definition of a reportable food. Use that when you're trying to decide whether a food is a reportable food or not. So who is required to report problems with animal foods? According to the law, any firm that manufactures, processes, packs, or holds food for animals and is required to register with the FDA is required to report reportable foods to the FDA. The law designates the owner, operator, or agent in charge of a domestic or foreign facility, the person who is required to submit the facility registration, as a responsible party. If an animal food problem does not meet the definition of a reportable animal food, you are not required to report it. But certain conditions have to be met to be sure a problem is not a reportable food. It's not a reportable food if, 1, the problem originated at the responsible party's facility, 2, the animal food did not leave the control of the facility, and 3, the responsible party corrected the problem or destroyed the animal food before it left the control of the firm. However, if one of these conditions is not met, for example, if you receive an incoming ingredient that contains a problem, you must report it, because one of the conditions was not met. The problem did not originate in your facility. You must report it so FDA is made aware of the problem and can investigate its source. The law puts the responsibility to report on you because you are in the best position to report the problem. If you're a responsible party, you must file a report within 24 hours of discovering the problem. To do this, you can use FDA's online Reportable Food Registry. This registry has just one goal: to keep food for humans and animals safe. And knowing about problems with animal food through reports from people like you is key to keeping food safe. You can reach the Reportable Food Registry through an online portal, the government's Safety Reporting Portal. This was created to enable anyone with internet access to report safety problems to FDA concerning any product that FDA regulates, including food for all animals, including pets. You can find the Safety Reporting Portal in a number of ways. The easiest might be to simply type Safety Reporting Portal in any online search engine. You may want to create an account when you sign in. It will make things easier later on. Next, click on Start a New Report. Then click the button for Reportable Food Registry Report Mandatory. The registry page will guide you through the steps to provide information about the problem. You'll be prompted to give a description of the animal food and the total amount of food involved. You'll be asked for product information that will identify the animal food. Sometimes this will be the information on the packaging. In the case of bulk animal feed, it may be on the paperwork documenting the sale of the feed. You'll also be asked to supply information about where the animal food or ingredients came from and where they went, as well as contact information for the immediate previous source or supplier of the animal food product and the immediate customers or other recipients of the product. There are other questions as well. So have as much information about the animal food as possible when you get online to file a report, as well as information about the suspected problem and the affected animals. A facility reporting a reportable food is also expected to investigate the root cause of the problem, and at some point, report the results of that investigation to the FDA. That information does not have to be provided within the first 24 hours after identifying the problem, but it should be added to the registry as soon as possible. Reports to the Reportable Food Registry are identified by an individual case safety report number. To add information later to a report already filed, for instance, information about the root cause of the problem, use the individual case safety report number to locate the original report and add more information to that. By the way, if the internet is not working or if there is an emergency and you want to get word to an official quickly, you can always report the problem to FDA by phone. The numbers to use in case of an emergency are 1-866-300-4374 or 301-796-8240. FDA also has help desks available for policy and interpretation questions, as well as IT support. What if the problem doesn't fit the category of a reportable food, but is still something that should be reported? You'd still use the safety reporting portal, but instead of clicking on the Reportable Food Registry button, you'd click on Livestock Food Report, a consumer or concerned citizen, or on Pet Food Report, a consumer or concerned citizen. It's important, too, that you follow up with your state feed control office in all cases. You can use the same information you provided through the safety reporting portal. Contact your state feed control office by phone or email. Go to the website for the Association of American Feed Control Officials, www.afco.org, and you'll find a list of state feed control offices with contact information. If you click the navigational button near the top of the home page labeled Regulatory, it'll take you to a page where you can find your state's feed control office. So to quickly summarize, it's important that you report feed safety problems promptly to the FDA, which is the agency in the federal government with the most responsibility for maintaining the safety of animal food. The firms that the law defines as responsible parties are required to report a problem that meets the definition of a reportable food within 24 hours of discovering it. In certain situations, you might not be required to report a problem to FDA. However, by filing a voluntary report, you can help us protect human and animal health. By reporting these issues to both FDA and your state feed control official, we can all work together to make sure problems get resolved as quickly as possible and keep the animal and human food supply safe. Thank you.